Shalom, shalom. I want to give honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Shai, right? It's the Passover, right? How do you keep the Passover? Okay, so a Passover is like a week away, right? Wednesday, April the 1st at sundown to April the 8th at sundown, right? So let's get into it, okay? Right? So let's write these precepts down and see how you keep the Passover, right? This is Exodus 12:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month, verse 2, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you, right? Abib in the Hebrew, which mean green ear or green corn, because about that time, right, when the barley began to sprout up out of the ground, and you see that green coming out of the earth, right? And you see that vegetation, you see that flower bloom, you see flowers blossoming, right? You see trees growing their leaves all over again, right? And this is around the springtime, right? The beginning of the new year, right? Not January the 1st, right? Because if you say January the 1st is the new year, right? So then you worshiping Janus, the Roman god, right? So if you made yourself a feast, right, and you count down that false new year, that ball dropping, right? And now it's time to repent and understand that Yahweh Hashem Shai, and he is the one that set up, you know, times and seasons, right? And remember, you know, Daniel 7:25 chapter, right? Loosely paraphrasing, he shall think to change times and laws, right? But in Daniel 2:21, right? Chapter on down, right? And the Most High, you know, he said he changed times, okay? Right? Verse 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for in house, right? Meaning you had to have a lamb, right, that was of the right size to be able to feed your, you know, entire family, right? And that is what it means, right? And every man for his household had a lamb, right? Okay, right. So man, you Israelites that's vegetarian, or vegan, or pescatarians, right? Don't eat meat. And if you fear the Most High and you're going to eat meat, all right, on a Passover, okay, right? And the Lord don't care about you being a vegetarian, okay, right? And that has nothing to do with anything, okay? So now we are rehearsing the righteous acts, right? You know, you might not be able to get a whole lamb, right? So you just go to the grocery store and get you a, you know, like some lamb steak or lamb chop or lamb shank, right? Okay. So the Passover, you gotta have a lamb with a bone in it, okay? Right? Okay. So you just get enough lamb for you and your household, right? So we practicing the righteous acts, okay? Right, because we can't afford to go get a whole lamb, okay? Right, so you just go to your nearest grocery store, okay? Right. Verse 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb, right? Meaning you have to have enough lamb for you and your household. So if you have a small house, the lamb can't be in the house, right? And you go to your neighbor and keep it together. So you keep this together with your neighbors, right? According to the number of your souls, right? Verse 5. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, right? Meaning you have to eat lamb on the Passover, and it doesn't mean you can eat goat, right? And you can't eat goat on the Passover, and that's off, right? And it must be a lamb, okay? Right? And what it is saying is you had flocks, and you had, you know, the flocks of the sheep, and you had your herd and your flocks of your goats, and you get your lamb from out of the flocks, right? And the male of the first year, and you might not know, you know, that your lamb is a male, and this is part of captivity, right? And we don't know for sure, right, unless we pick our own lamb. So we go to the store, you know, and we don't know if it's a male, right? So we have to pray to the Most High that he have mercy on us, right? Because we go to the grocery store and get us lamb, and we don't know if it's a male or female, okay? So we need to pray to the Most High that he have mercy on us, okay? Right? Because Yahushua, he's represented as the lamb, okay? Right? Without spot and without blemish, okay? Let's go to John, okay, 1 and 29. I want John 1 and 29. This is John 1 and 29. The next day John see that Yahushua coming unto him, and said, Behold, the Lamb of Yahweh, which taketh away the sin of the world. Right? So the Lamb is representative of Yahushua, right? And he is the Lamb without spot or blemish, because Yahushua didn't sin, okay? And he didn't have any blemish. So the Lamb you have on the Passover, you had a male without blemish, right? And also you had wicked Israelites, you know, that would offer up a lamb that was torn by a lion. You know, they'll tell you that in the, you know, book of Malachi, right? Right? So that the Israelites will take the torn lamb and offer it up to the Lord, and they will keep the good lamb to themselves, and that's going off, right? Let's prove that Yahushua was without spot and without blemish, okay? Let's go to 1 Peter and 1:19. This is 1 Peter 1 and 19. But with the precious blood of Mashiach, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, right? So Yahushua was without spot and blemish, okay? Right? So let's go back to it. Exodus 12 and verse 6. This is Exodus 12 and 6. And you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening, right? Meaning they kill the lamb when the sun goes down, right? And it's in our law, okay? Right? So you supposed to have your lamb, raise it up to the 10th day and raise it up to the 14th day and then slaughter it, right? But we are in captivity, right? So we gotta just go, you know, buy lamb chops, lamb steaks, lamb shanks, okay, on the 10th day and on the first month, and keep it until the 14th day, right, of the month. Then cook it at sundown, okay, because we are rehearsing the righteous acts, okay, right? Verse 7. And they shall take on the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it, right? So they will actually put blood on the house in the ancient world, okay, right? Verse 8. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire and unleavened bread, and with the bitter herbs they shall eat it, right? And the only way you can cook your lamb, right, on the Passover, roasted with fire, meaning on a grill, okay? All right? So you roasting with open fire, right? You can't bake your lamb, okay? You can't put it in the microwave. You can't boil it. You can't put it in the frying pan, okay? Right? It gotta be roasted with fire, right? Okay, it gotta be grilled, right? I'm gonna read verse 8 again, right? In verse 8, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it, right? So you have to grill your lamb, and you have to have unleavened bread, right? So what unleavened bread represent? Unleavened bread represent, you know, the body without sin, okay? Right? So Yahushua, he was without sin, okay? Right? Because leaven represents sin, okay? Right? Let's go prove that. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. I want 5 and 6. This 1 Corinthians 5 and 6. This is 1 Corinthians 5 and 6. Your glorying is not good, knowing ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump, right? A little leaven mean a little sin, right? and leaven the whole lump, meaning destroy a whole congregation. So if you are planning on making leavened bread, and you can say, well, it will still be unleavened bread if I just put a little yeast in it, but the whole thing is going to be destroyed. So a little sin can destroy a whole man and a congregation, right? Okay, because you got to think about when you read up to this chapter, right? Verse 1, all right, you had the church of Corinth going off, right? Sleeping with a mom, okay, women teaching, right? Let's scroll up and let's get to it. All right, let's see about this leaven was in this church, okay? Right, leaven means sin. All right, this is 1 Corinthians 5:1, all right? It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named it among the Gentile, that one should have his father's wife, right? Everyone knew what was going on, you know, with all the fornication in Corinth, right? And Paul heard of that, such fornication as is not so much as named it among the Gentile, meaning this is a different type of fornication, right? That y'all are into, right? That they should have their father's wife, right? And they were saying that, right? And that's often wicked, okay? Right? So you had women like what? Teaching in the congregation, not keeping silent, effeminate men, right? Men having sex with their moms, right? False prophet, you know, envy of each other, right? Right. They didn't want Paul to teach them the milk, okay? Right? Verse 2. And ye are puffed up and have not rather mourned that he that had done this deed might be taken away from among you, right? Right, so they was puffed it up. They were bragging about how they slept with their mom or their father's wife, right? Instead of mourning for what they have sinned, right? Right. The other brothers should have kicked them out, right, of the congregation, right? Instead of listening to what the brother did to his mom, right, and laughing about it, all right? Verse 4. In the name of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, when ye are gathered together, and my spirit with the power of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, right? Verse 5, to deliver such an one unto Satan for the destruction of the flesh, that the spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord Yahushua, right? To deliver such one unto Satan, the destruction of the flesh, right? Meaning, kick this brother out of the congregation, right? And if he's out the congregation, now Satan is going to work on him heavy, right? And most of the time, you know, when brothers, you know, they leave the camp or they get kicked out the camp or they want to go do their own thing, right? Or if they fall at the truth, right? And Satan start working on them real heavy, okay? And he said, I would rather, you know, give this man over to Satan, right? Instead of having the whole church, you know, of Corinth fall apart, right? And just get him out of her and give him up to his lust on the left hand side, right? Drop down to verse 7. Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Mashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed it for us, right? Meaning Yahushua is our Passover, to purge out the old leaven, and that is what the unleavened bread represents. And it represents the body without sin, right? And a body that is removed demons from you, spiritual toxic, right? For you can be clean and pure, right? So you want that unleavened bread to be reminded that you are clean in the spirit, because that leaven can destroy a whole body, right? So that leaven represent, okay, sin, right? Then Yahushua tell the apostle, the disciples, right, watch out for that leaven, right? He was warning them about, you know, the Pharisees and Sadducees, right? But, you know, they didn't have no understanding. They thought he was talking about physical bread, right? Let's go to that count. Let's go to Matthew, okay? Matthew, I want 16. What I'm going to start with? I'm going to start with verse 5, okay? Matthew 16, verse 5. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread, Verse 6, then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. Verse 7, and they reasoned it among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread. Verse 8, which when Yahushua proceeded, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Verse 9, do ye not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Verse 10, neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Verse 11, how is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye shall beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Right? So I told them straight up, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, right? And they can come to you and seduce you, right? And the next thing you know, it's going to spread with that wicked philosophy and understanding, okay? Right? Of other men, and overthrow them in their judgment, of their understanding, okay? And also today, you have wicked Israelites preaching you don't have to keep the law or wear fringes, and you will, have other people fall in that leaven, right? These false doctrines, okay, will destroy the people in the congregation as well, okay, right? So we got to stay away from this leaven, these different doctrines, okay, right? Okay, now that's, remember in the precept, okay, right, that they said the resurrection is already passed, right? Let's go to that precept. I think it's 2 Timothy 2, 16, 17. This is 2 Timothy 2. I'm gonna start with verse 16. It's 2 Timothy 2 and 16. But shun profane and vain babbling, for they will increase unto more ungodliness, right? Profane and vain babbling, meaning different doctrines of leaven, okay? Verse 17, and their word will eat as though a canker of whom is Hymenaeus, and Philetus, verse 18, who concerning the truth I have erred it, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some, right? Meaning, if you don't avoid these doctrines and don't avoid the leaven, and it is going to spread like a canker, right? And this word canker mean in the Greek is gangrene, right? And that is a disease that, will eat up your flesh, right? And it will start, with your fingers, right? Into your arms, your chest. And are we the body of Yahushua? And it's every one part of the body. And if you have a brother in the congregation, and if it spread to his toes, eventually it will, come up to his head, right? And it will be destructive to the body, right? And it's not profitable, okay? So if we have leaven in our body, that will take away our legs, our arms, our feet, our neck. And guess what? We are not going to make it, okay? Right? So we have to take that leavened bread out of our house when the feast of unleavened bread comes in. And also it is talking about the leaven, all right? The house of clay, meaning your body, all right? Let's go back to it. Exodus 12 and 8. Exodus 12, right? I'm gonna read verse 8 again, okay? I'm gonna read verse 8 again. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it, right? Meaning lamb, unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. And the bitter herbs represent our hard bondage in Egypt, right? And that is why we have to have bitter herbs like horseradish, or get some ginger root, or some dandelion, right? Okay, so, and when you are eating part of this meal, okay, on the Passover, right, and it's going to stir up your mind, okay, of all the parts of the scriptures, right, the body of Yahushua, right, the walk that he had, right, the unleavened spirit that he had, okay, the affliction and oppression that we are dealing with, the revenge that's coming from the Most High, and the wine, right? Okay, what the wine represent, okay? The wine represent the blood of Yahushua, right? Okay, right, because we're not actually drinking blood, we're drinking this wine that represent his blood, okay? Let's go to the precept. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11:25. I'm gonna start with verse 24. This 1 Corinthians 11:24. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. Verse 25. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped it, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. Right? And when we drink the wine, and don't get drunk, okay, on the Passover, right? And you can't be drunk, okay? Right? And we can't be mixing our wine with other drinks, okay? That's a no-no. No mixing your wine with no other drinks, okay? And when you drink the wine, it represents Yahushua's blood. And when you drink it and you are remembering Yahushua's sacrifice, right? That's his blood was shedded for us, right? And you have to drink the, the wine on the Passover. And if you have children, okay, or if the kids are 2 years old, 1 year old, this is what you do, brothers and sisters. You take your wine, you take your finger in the wine, okay, right, and you put it in the your kid's mouth and let it suck on it about 1 or 2 times, right? Okay, right. Then that kid got him some wine for the Passover, right? So, the wine, we drink the wine that represent the blood, right? And we know the blood wash away our sins, okay? Right? Let's get that classic precept, all right? Let's go to Revelation 1:5. Revelation 1:5. And from Yahushua Mashiach, who is the faithful witness and the first begotten of the dead and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, right? Meaning he washed us from our sins, right? In his own blood, right? And the blood, and the blood pierced the body to get to your spirit, right? And cleanse it, right? From any affirmative, weakness of sin, right? So that is the purpose of Yahushua's blood, right? And just like the lamb blood cover your house and purify your house from destruction, right? And the lamb blood, Yahushua, purify your body from sin. And that's why we drink of the blood, but it is not actually blood. We drink the wine, right? That represent his blood, okay? Right? Let's go back to it. Exodus, I think I'm at Exodus 12, verse 9. This is Exodus 12 and verse 9. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs and with the proteinence thereof, right? Eat not of it raw or sodden, and that means no boiling it, okay? And also cook it well done, okay? Right? With his head and legs and with the prudence thereof, meaning you should roast the whole lamb, but we can't really do that in Babylon. So we just go by lamb chocks, lamb steak, lamb legs, right? But in the ancient world, we had to roast the whole lamb, and prudence meaning roast the whole lamb inside and out, okay? Right? Verse 10. And we shall verse 10, and ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning you shall burn with fire, right? So, man, we can't have no lamb left over, right, from the Passover. And no, you can't save it for leftovers for the next day, right? And if you have extra lamb and you can't throw it away, you got to burn it, okay? Right? You got to burn it, and you can't feed it to your dogs, your cat, or any animal, okay, right? And you just put it on the grill and let it burn, right? Verse 11, and thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover, right? So you have to have your loins girded, and you supposed to eat like you're on the go, right? With your shoes girded and with haste, right? And we left Egypt the morning, of the Passover, and we was, up all night eating the Passover, right? And when the sun was coming up, we were out of Egypt and left, tomorrow after the Passover, meaning after the meal, right? And our forefathers, they eating the Passover, and they got the hell out of Egypt, okay, right? And they were girded up, with their shoes on their feet, right? And a staff in their hand, right? And we had to have a staff in your hand, okay? And we have to eat the lamb in haste, like we have somewhere to go, okay? Verse 12, for I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. Verse 13, and the blood shall be to you for a token upon the house where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. Verse 14, and this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever, right? So we supposed to keep the Passover forever, in every first month of the 15th day of the month, and every brother should know how to keep the Passover, and why we keep the Passover, and when to keep the Passover, okay? Right? Verse 15, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread, even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel, right? So we have to eat unleavened bread, right? So the Passover that you eat and keep is the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread and your Passover meal, right? Your Passover holy day is the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And before the day of the Passover begins, you have to take all the leavened bread out of your house, all right? That has yeast in it, okay? Right? So you got the yeast in your food, your products, okay? Right? So get that out your house. Get a good cleanup, okay? Right? Because you got to think about your kids or y'all don't got chips, tater chips, all kind of leavened bread between your couches, between your stove, upon your bed. Y'all need to clean that house up, okay? Clean it real good. Get that leaven out there, okay? Right? Same way with you brothers. Us brothers live in the cars, okay? Clean out your cars. Get that leaven between the seats. All right, all them crumbs falling down, right? Okay, get that leaven out of there, right? Okay, so any food with got yeast in it, baking soda, and another thing, and you brothers can't afford to throw it away or throw it out, hey, take it out your house and put it in your car for them 7 days, okay? After them 7 days over with, April the 8th. All right, Wednesday, April the 8th at sundown, when the Feast of Unleavened Bread is over with, bring all that stuff back in your house, okay? Right? Okay, right. So what's another name for unleavened? It's the Passover, right? Let's go prove that. Let's go to Luke 22 and verse 1. It's Luke 22 and 1. Now the Feast of Unleavened Bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover, right? Right. So which is called the Passover, right? And also in the book, you go to first address, I think it's 1 and 19, right? It's called the Feast of Sweet Bread, right? So that's another name, for, Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? It's sweet bread, okay? Right? Because, the bread they made, it was sweet, okay? Right? They put honey, cinnamon, on the bread, right? Let's go to that count. Let's prove that. That's first address 1 and verse 19. This first address 1 and 19. So the children of Israel which were present held the Passover at that time, and the feast of sweet bread 7 days. So so another name for unleavened bread is sweet bread, okay? Right, they put cinnamon, they put honey, right? So let's go back. Let's go to Exodus 12 and 16. Exodus 12 and 16. This is Exodus 12 and verse 16. And in the first day, let me read that again. And in the first day, there shall be an holy convocation, and in the 7th day, there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. Right? So the first day and the 7th day is a Sabbath, right? And you can't buy or sell, right, on them days, right? But you can cook, right? And you better congregate because it's a commandment, right? A holy convocation. The first day, and the 7th day is the feast of unleavened bread, right? And you be with your wife, your brothers on the Passover, right? And you should be with your brother and wife on the 7th day of the feast of unleavened bread. And you can't buy or sell on the first day and on that 7th day, okay? But you can buy and sell, right, in them other days, okay? Them days between the first day and the 7th day, okay? Right? Verse 17. Verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought you armies. Read that again. Verse 17. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generation by an ordinance forever. Right? Let's drop down to verse 43. This is verse 43. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof. No stranger, meaning no heathen, right? Them other nation. And you can't bring them to the Passover. No heathen can eat of the Passover, right? And it got to be holy, right? And for our people only. And some brother, they got a heathen wife, right? And you can't care how mad she get. And she, she got to deal with it, right? And she can't join in the Passover, right? And the brother got to, do the Passover with his brother, right? Not with his heathen woman, okay? Right? She can't join in, right? So these are the strangers, okay? Right? Let me get a precept that these are the strangers. Let me go to the classic. Let's go to 1 Kings 11 and 1, all right? But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Chinese, the Ammonites, the Japanese, the Edomites, the so-called white people, Zidonians, okay, them Africans, and the Hittites, them Africans, okay, right? All right, them Canaanites, okay, who would they be today? Them South Africans, okay, right? So he didn't name, so these are some of the strangers, right? But they all them heathens, all them other nations are strangers, okay? Them are the strangers, okay? They can't eat at the Passover, okay? Let's go back to it. Let me go back to Exodus. I want 12 and should be 44. Exodus 12 and 44, right? But every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof, right? Meaning, if you have a man servant, which is a fellow Israelite, right? And if he's not circumcised, and he has to get circumcised, right? And then he can eat the Passover, right? So let me tell you about my testimony, okay? When I first came in this thing, I wasn't circumcised, right? So I made an appointment, right? First I prayed to the Most High, right? Get an appointment. I was trying to make it to the Passover, right? But fortunately, I couldn't make it to the Passover, right? Because, to get the procedure done, the schedule was like a month later after the Passover, right? So I missed that Passover. But after that, I've been doing the Passover every year, all through the Most High, right? So, right, like I say, it cost me $1,800 to get it done. So I use Esau credit card, right? So I'm like, well, hey, I got Esau credit card, let me use it, right? But anyway, I'd like to use my testimony on that, right? Because I couldn't do the Passover the first year, okay? Right? But anyway, verse 45. Verse 45. A foreign and an hired servant shall not eat thereof, right? So, meaning no heathen, all right? The other nations, okay? Right? 46. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof, right? Meaning you can't take your lamb and eat it on the porch or eat it outside, right? Driving down the street, okay? Or you on your balcony, okay? Right? Or you on your patio, that's going off, okay? And that's wicked. So you got to keep the Passover in the house, all right? Right? And no breaking the bones, okay? Right? Because, you know, it was a symbolic for, you know, none of Yahushua's bones was broken, right? On the crucifixion, right? Okay? Remember, they wanted to break his legs, right? But he was dead already, right? And it was no need to break his legs, right? Okay? When he was already dead, all right? Right? What's the count of Joseph, you know, of, Matthias, Slocky, right? You know, he went and got him off the cross, okay? I want John 19 and 31. John 19, 30, where is it? John 19. No, it's John 19, 33, but I'm gonna start at 32, okay? This is John 19 and 32. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him. Verse 33. But when they came to Yahushua and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs, right? Meaning they wanted to break his legs for he could hurry up and die, right? And get him off the cross, right? But they didn't break his legs because, you know, that was fulfilled that you can't break, you know, the bones on the Passover, right? You know, and just like, you know, our grandmothers, our parents used to do in slavery or when we was kids and break the chicken bones, you know, the drumstick bones and suck all the juice out. Man, I did it. I did it when I was young in the 80s, okay? I'm guilty of it, okay? Right? No, we can't do that. And that's off, okay? You know, that's wicked. And we can't be breaking the bones on the Passover, right? So, and having the Passover outside, and we have to eat the, you know, gotta eat the Passover in the house, okay? Right? But anyway, let's go back to Exodus. This Exodus 12, verse 47. That's what I want, 47. And all the congregation of Israel shall keep it. 48. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee and will keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his male be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one that is born in the land. For no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof, right? Meaning you have to be circumcised to eat the Passover, right? Right? And that's part of our law as well, okay? And Israel and the stranger, which are Israelites, okay? Right? So how can we prove that these Israelites are strangers in verse 48? Let's go to the precepts, okay? Let's go to 2 Chronicles 30 and verse 25. The 2 Chronicles 30 and 25. And all the congregation of Judah with the priests and the Levites and all the congregation that came out of Israel and the strangers that came out of the land of Israel and that dwelt in Judah rejoiced, right? And the strangers that dwelt in the land of Israel, meaning the northern kingdom, right? Okay, that's so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, right? Okay, and you always had, you know, remnant of Israelites, right, that would come, you know, and keep the feast days, right? You know, Ephraim, Gad, Simeon, Manasseh, okay, right? To you ones new to the channel, Ephraim, that's the Puerto Rican. Gad is Native American. Simeon, okay, that's Dominicans, okay, right? Manasseh, right, the Cubans, okay, etc., right? So those are the strangers that we are reading about, you know, in Exodus 12 and 48, okay, right? Let's get another precept that these are the strangers. Let's stay in 2 Chronicles, okay? 2 Chronicles 15 and 9, all right? And he gathered it, the 2 Chronicles 15:9, and he gathered it all Judah, the so-called American black, and Benjamin, the West Indians, okay, all right, the Jamaicans, and the strangers with them out of Ephraim, right, the Puerto Ricans, and Manasseh, all right, the Cubans, and out of Simeon, Dominicans, for they fell to him out of Israel in abundance, right, when they saw that the Lord, his Yahweh, was with him. So that is why you had a woman like Anna, you know, the prophetess, right, that dwelled among the Judites, right, whole American blacks, okay, and she wasn't the only remnant of the northern kingdom, okay, right, that lived in Judea, right, because you always had a remnant, you know, of, you know, the northern kingdom, right, that fell away from their families, right, okay, you know, and they will dwell amongst the Judites, you know, for the feast days, okay, and these are the strangers, you know, that can keep the Passover, all right, so these are the strangers, okay. Now let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. I want verse 49, Exodus 12 and 49. One law shall be to him that is a homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourned among you. Verse 50. Thus did all the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. Verse 51. And it came to pass the self same day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies, right? Okay, so this is the Passover, okay, right? And I want to touch on some things, okay, right? Because y'all need to know how to make your unleavened bread, okay? So to make your unleavened bread, right, only thing you need is flour, water, olive oil, salt, and honey, right? So this is what you do. You take the water and the flour and you get it thick and clumpy. You add some olive oil in there, right? And a little bit of salt, right? And some honey, okay? In it, and then put it in the oven. It's simple, okay? That's how you make your unleavened bread, all right? Right? So, like you say, and you cook your lamb, all right? Make sure you cook your lamb well done, okay? Right? And another thing, your lamb, right? Is the fat is on it, do not cut the fat off. Leave the fat on there. Cook it with the fat on there, right? So when you eat it, you take the fat off, right? When it's done, you ready to eat it, you take the fat off, you throw it in on the grill so it can burn, right? So make sure your bones, do not throw it to the dogs, don't throw it in the trash can, throw it on the grill so you can burn, okay? And whatever lamb you don't eat, finish eating that night, you need to hurry up and put it, you know, on the grill and make sure, you know, it's good and burnt. Whatever you don't eat, okay? Make sure you have enough charcoal, okay? My preference is charcoal is matchlight, but you know, whatever you brothers or sisters, you sisters by yourself, you know, whatever your preference is, right? Make sure you cook the meat well done, right? And what else I want to touch on, okay? All your hygiene. I'm gonna put a list. I'm gonna put a list on the channel, right? All the things could have leaven in it, right? Yeast in it. Remember, you got, it's gonna be things in there that you need to get out, because it's not gonna say yeast, okay? Right? It's not gonna say leaven, right? I'm gonna put a list in things, you know, right? Your health hygiene products, all right? Your toothpaste, get it out of there, okay? Right? Get it out of there. I'm gonna put the list up there on the post. I'm posted on the channel. The things you need to get out of your house, okay? Right? So, and another thing, your wine, okay? You get the Manchester grape wine, the red wine, okay? Not strawberry, another flavor, the red wine, okay? Right? So you can get the Morgan David, okay, wine, right? The Manchester, the Great Concord wine, the kosher, okay, right? So I'm gonna post that up on the channel too as well. The two wines you need to get, okay? Oh, and another thing, do not have your wine cold. Do not put ice in it. Don't put it in the refrigerator, right? You buy it off the shelf, you know, already just warm, okay? Right? Now, any other high holy day or any regular day you want to drink wine, if you want to drink the wine cold, cool. If you want to drink the wine hot, cool. But no, on the Passover, no cold wine, okay? Right? No ice, all right? What else? Let me think. I'm trying to make sure I'm touching everything, okay? Oh, yeah. The Passover start, okay? The Passover start, look at your calendar. April the 1st, Wednesday, April the 1st at sundown. Soon as sundown, it's a Sabbath. No buying, no selling, no working, okay? All the way up to Thursday on the 2nd at sundown. Then the Sabbath is over with. Okay, right? And in between days, you still cook. Okay, right? And go to work. Right? On the last day is a Sabbath. Right? Look at your calendar. On the 7th, Tuesday, on the 7th at sundown, that's the Sabbath. All the way to Wednesday on the 8th at sundown. On the 8th at sundown, the Feast of Unleavened Bread is over with, okay? You can put all your yeast, all your things back in your house, okay? Right? Start brushing your teeth, all that, okay? Right? So you make sure you have this unleavened bread, all right, for 7 days. Make sure you have unleavened bread for 7 days, okay? Hit me on the email or whatever, you got questions or whatever, okay? I want to give honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Shalom.